IAS Academy.
Hello all, welcome to IAS Academy and welcome back to the program Editorial Daily, where we deal with editorial analysis which enriches your perspectives and enhance your answer writings. So let's get started with our today's session. Yes, let's start today's discussion. For today, the first article for today is why artificial wisdom is the biggest AI risk. Basically, the author of this article is the Saumitri Bhadur. He is the professor at the Madras School of Economics. Okay, this article completely lies in the topics like artificial intelligence, the ethics, the governance, and the society. Okay, so the author in this article basically argues that the greatest danger, see, the greatest danger of AI is not that machines become smarter than humans, but the humans may start believing AI process wisdoms. The humans are starting believing the AI uh, possesses wisdom. Okay, this is what the humans are doing. So AI is a powerful tool which is capable of improving the productivity and transforming the industries. Okay, so however, the confusing information which is generated by the AI with the genuine human wisdom can have a serious social, economic, and the political consequences as well. Okay, so however, we can say like when coming to the opportunity, the AI opportunities along with the risks which we can see, like every technological revolution, like might it be AI which offers an economic benefits like higher productivity across the sectors, might be the faster research, also I mean the faster research information which we get, faster research innovations, and improved healthcare with the AI, improved healthcare. Okay, there are a lot more things what we can do with this AI, right? So however, every technological advancement also creates the challenges where the author identifies the three major AI risks. He considers three major AI risks that requires the attention. What are those three major risks is, one is the disruption of the cognitive labor. One is disruption of cognitive labor, and the second one goes like concentration of economic and political power. See, the second one which we can say is concentration of economic and the political power. This is the second concern. And the third concern goes like the danger of the artificial wisdom. The danger of artificial wisdom. These are the three things which the author is arguing about. Okay, so let us look into it complete detailedly, and let us link this article to the topics of which paper we will see. Okay, moving on, let's see the topic, why the artificial wisdom is the biggest AI risk, which is the authored by the Bahadur, which is who is the professor at the Madras School of Economics, which is no source from the National Daily Opinion page. Okay, now to which papers we can relate this article is in GS paper 3, we can link this article to science and technology developments and their applications and efforts in everyday life, which and the awareness in the fields of IT, space, computer, robotics, and AI. Okay, in GS paper 4, we can link this article to the topics like ethics and human interface, the ethical dilemmas in technological advancements, accountability in digital governance, and the role of human judgment over the automated systems. Okay, yes, let's look into the context of the topic. Okay, now while seeing the context of the topic, we can say it as, while the popular debates on the artificial intelligence, this frequently the center of doomsday existential threats or the mass unemployment, the article argues for a nuanced classification of AI risks, which is based on their impact and systemic mitigation difficulty. Okay, so it highlights the subtle pervasive danger of threatening AI as an oracle of wisdom or knowledge. Okay, so rather than a statistical text, the predictor posing unprecedented threats to institutional truths and regulatory frameworks. Okay, now how can we come up with the introduction for this topic is, see, the AI systems are powerful tools, but mistaking them for sources of wisdom rather than statistical predictors can't distort truth, misguide policies, erode accountability, and weaken the democratic and regulatory institutions. Okay, so this editorial analysis the major risks, their root causes, and the urgent need of the robust safeguards which has to be taken. Okay, yes. Moving forward, let us see the typology of the three major AI risks what the article is talking about. The first is, as I said, the disruption of cognitive labor. Disruption of cognitive labor, which is for the first time, the machines are capable of automating the intellectual tasks rather than just the physical ones. Okay, so historically, technologies revolutions like the steam engine, and etc were there to redistribute the labor rather than the entire eliminating professions. Rather than eliminating the entire professions, there is a need of like just what you call redistribute the labor. It is not that by this AI recessions are happening in the software mostly, right? So AI is expected to follow a similar trajectory rather than this eliminating the professions. Some occupations will shrink while entirely new ones they emerge. Okay, requiring the sufficient capital investment in human res- reskilling. Okay, this is what the disruptive cognitive labor is. Okay, disruption of cognitive labor. The second risk is concentration of political and economic power, in which is stated like the developing frontier, the AI models is intensely capital, okay, which is heavily capital heavy, which is requiring the massive investments in data, data, compute, energy, and the top talent. Okay, so this concentrates the strategic resources in the hands of a few corporations and elite nations. Okay, so historically such extreme concentration resembles the past geopolitical checkpoints over all the gold, inventing coercive state behaviors. Okay, yes, the third risk will be the illusion of the artificial wisdom, which is the most pervasive risk which we are facing. That is, the unique danger arises when society positions AI as a legitimate substitute for a human cognition. Rather than a human, for a human, the AI is being substituted. When society takes up this has to be seriousness, then this will be a very big problem. Okay, so at its core, AI does not generate the knowledge. It uses the sophisticated algorithms to predict the statistically most probable next step in the sequence, which is based on the vast training data sets which we give. Okay, basically, rather if we take the chat GPT and what you call this Gemini of the Google, anything which we take, the content if we give, if you search for, if you give a topic to it, it will give you a basic idea of it. When you keep on telling that you want a standard of UPSC answer, you want a standard of UPSC, when you mention it to the 2 3 times, the basically the third time it will give you the same thing. It will mention also giving it in a UPSC standard, or else giving it in a what you called the I mean, the mains perspective answer in 200 words and 150 words. Obviously, it get habited to our content, what we want. Okay, this is what we are replacing the things of. Okay, and the AI is not completely emotionally based. It is just a statistical algorithm. It works on it. It predicts the statistics basically and gives you the sequence which we give. Only it is based on the data sets we give. It works in that data sets only. Okay. Yes, these are the threats which have been discussed in this article. And when you see the knowledge versus information, the fundamental distinction between it, when you see the machine domain, the AI systems excel at pattern recognition, data summarization, and generating the human-like text sequence predictions. Like, see the pattern recognitions, you have to remember the pattern recognitions, the data summarization, and text predictive. Okay, prediction. In coming to the human domain, rather than keeping the machine domain aside, when you see the human domain, it is the true knowledge which requires in a contextual norms. Okay, so the personal judgment, lived experience, and an understanding of real world consequences have to be there. So only human minds with domain experience can evaluate whether an AI generated output is genuinely appropriate for the problem that had. Okay, hand. Okay, so in this you have to remember the conceptual norms, the personal judgment, the lived experience, and the real world consequences in it. Okay, coming to the systemic threats to the institutions, how could it be is the first is the fertile ground for the manipulation. Fertile ground for manipulation in the sense the AI can generate highly persuasive, cheap and accessible systemic information. So it mimics the genuine output, making it extremely difficult for individuals and institutes to differentiate fact from the fabrication. Okay. And yes, the next one is unverifiable systemic dependency. Unverifiable systemic dependency, which is the organizations which are increasingly rely on the generative tools for critical tasks. Okay, so this breeds the unprecedented systemic risk where high level decisions are influenced by the automated intelligence that no human can practically verify or audit. This is one of the biggest thing. Okay, next, the premium on verification. The premium on verification, like in the AI age, the rarest and the most valuable skill shifts from the content creation to the critical verification of accuracy, and obviously the human oversight and the validation are indispensable for trustworthy governance and institutional integrity. Okay, this is one of the these are the three major systemic threats to the institutions. Okay. And coming to the regulatory imperative for this thing is, the first thing is the absence of clear liability. Absence of clear liability. Like, see, unlike the traditional sectors, example like pharmaceuticals and all, where a flawed products result in a clear manufacturer liability. So AI platforms have largely occupied within a what they call the governance vacuum. Okay, so this automated harms from the misinformation to discriminatory outputs lack the clear legal accountability frameworks. Okay, yes. And the next one is the emerging boundaries. What are the emerging boundaries which we have to look forward is the courts and the societies are becoming, they are beginning to redraw the accountability guidelines, and the legal actions against this tech conglomerates like meta platforms and all, which highlights the emergence of the liability for platform design and the social harms. Okay, now yes, when you come to the conclusion of this topic, how you can write about the conclusion is, to successfully navigate the AI transition, the world requires a combination of technical guardrails and the domestic institutional frameworks and a global non-proliferation agreement on the disruptive AI. Okay. Similar to how the international treaties prevented nuclear catastrophe over the past 8 decades, the global governance architectures must build a kill switches and clear operational boundaries to limit or shut down the systems which are operating outside human intended parameters. This is what the conclusion you can write for this article. Okay, now when you see few key terminologies which are been which you can use it in the examination when you get it is, the first one is artificial wisdom or cognitive substitutability, which is the dangerous society misconception or that AI models generate the deep context aware knowledge and wisdom rather than merely predicting the statistical text relationships. This is what it is called, wisdom, artificial wisdom or cognitive susceptibility, substantiality. Okay, next is cognitive labor disruption. What is this cognitive labor disruption is? This is an automation and transformation of intellectual, analytical and creative creative tasks. Once I mean, it's thought to be exclusively limited to the human professionals. Okay. Next is the strategic AI checkpoints. Strategic AI checkpoints, which is the concentration of critical computational infrastructure and the energy resources and the what you call the proprietary data sets among a minute group of global corporations and sovereign states, which is creating a geopolitical leverage. Okay. The next one is systemic information proliferation, which is the mass automated production of the hyper persuasive, accessible but fabricated digital content that complicates the validation of truth by public and private institutions. Okay, this is the systemic information proliferation. The last one is global non-proliferation agreement on AI, which is a proposed international legal framework and treaty system which is designed to establish the binding boundaries and the emergency protocols for the contaminant of disruptive automotive systems. Okay, these are the few key terminologies for the UPSC examination which you can use when you get this article. Okay, yes. Moving forward, let's see the next article. Yes, and the next article for today is Rise in Food Poisoning Cases, which highlights the lapse in the food safety. Okay, basically, yes, in nowadays, not even in Hyderabad nor in any other state, the food safety raids are being very much, and I mean, the food safety raids are happening in the on the hotels, the high-end hotels, like normal restaurants and all, which is giving us the very bad opinion on those restaurants and all, which is increasing the safety lapses also. So we will discuss this topic today. Okay, so basically this article highlights the recurring incidents of food poisoning expose which weakenings in the implementation of food safety laws and underline the urgent need for stronger regulation, surveillance and the public awareness. Okay, so the food safety is not just about the prevailing illness. It is very much essential for the public health as well as the nutrition and we can say about the economic productivity and as well as the consumer confidence. Okay, this is what we can say. These are all the aspects which we can talk about. Like, it is just because, see, the food safety is not just about this preventing the illness. It is also essential for this type of requirements, like for public health, for nutrition, for economic productivity and consumer confidence. Okay, so this article begins with by referring to the two recent incidents which have been happened. A food poisoning case at a private school in Indore, Madhya Pradesh. The food safety, the private schools, the in private school canteen, the one issue, and the second issue is in the Bhiwandi, which is in Maharashtra, which is affecting 200 people. These are the two cases what this article is talking about. So according to the accidents, deaths and suicide in India ADSI report, which is given in 2024, that 1122 people died due to food poisoning in India. This report has released. What report is it? That is accidental deaths and suicide in India, suicides in India report. This report, and which is released in 2024, said that 1122 people died due to food poisoning in India. So these preventable deaths which indicate the serious gaps in the enforcing the Food Safety Standards Act 2006. Okay, so what is this food safety standards and what are the standards authority of India, FSSAI, means? Basically, this FFSAI is an India's apex food regulatory. It is a apex food regulatory of India, which is established under the Food Safety and Standard Acts 2006. Okay, this FFSAI. Just a second. Okay. Yes. Okay, so it major functions include like farming the food safety standards, licensing and regulating the food businesses, and conducting the inspections, testing food samples, creating the consumer awareness, and coordinating with the state food safety authorities. So its objective is to ensure the safe and wholesomeness food reaches every consumer. Okay, so this article basically discussed the state food safety index, which is given in 2023 to 2024 financial year, which is prepared by the FSSAI. Okay, majorly this this evaluates this index basically evaluates the state on five parameters. What are those five parameters which you can tell is, which we can talk is about the human resources is one. First is human resources. Human resources. The second one is, you can talk about compliance. And third, we can say it like, just a second, I'll remove it. Okay. The first one is what we have seen, the human resources. The second is compliance. And third one, which we can tell is the food testing infrastructure. Food testing infrastructure. The fourth one is the surveillance and the training and capacity building. Training and capacity building. Okay. Training and capacity building. These are the five major parameters where the index elevates in the state. Okay, let us see it clearly, and we'll see what are the context this report has been released and on. Okay, yes, let's see. The topic goes like, rise in food poisoning cases, which highlighting the lapse in food safety. The author is Sambhavi Parthasarathi, and the sources from data points section. Okay, now where we can link this article to our syllabus is in GS paper 2. We can link this to the governance and the social justice issues, which is relating to the development and management of social sector or the services relating to health. So, and performance of the statutory bodies like FSSAI. Okay, in GS paper 3 also we can link this article to the technology machines, the economic of public health, the food processing, supply chains and safeguards. Okay, and safety standards. Yes. Moving on, when you see the context of this topic, we can say that two severe suspected episodes of food poisoning at a private school in Indore of Madhya Pradesh, and another at a popular eatery, which is a popular eatery in Bhiwandi, which is in Maharashtra, affecting the 200 people, have been renewed the focus on systemic vulnerabilities in public health. Okay, so the data from the accident deaths and suicides in India report indicated that 1,122 deaths in India is due to food poisoning, which is set in 2024 report. Okay, so then we can these recurring preventable tragedies, which highlights the major implication gaps in the food safety and standards act 2006 across the various states. Okay, now coming to the introduction of the topic, which we can tell is, despite having a robust legal framework under the food safety and standards act 2006 and FSSAI framework, indicates of food poisoning continue to spike across the India. Okay, so weak enforcements, the inadequate testing, the severe manpower shortages, and the compliance lapses across the state undermine the food safety outcomes. Okay, so this editorial analysis, the paradox of the low state performance and high disease burden, which identifies the bottlenecks and highlights the imperative of risk-based reforms. Okay, now when you see the core paradox, where the low safety index and high disease burden cities, when we can see the first concern which is coming up is the state food safety index lapse. Okay, State Food Index City Labs. See, the State Food Index City Labs has given us in 2023 to 2024. It states that it is less than 50 percentage. The food safety is less than 50 percentage out of 100. So FSSAI elevates the state on 5 parameters. The first one is the human resource, the second is the institutional data, third is compliance, the next is food testing infrastructure, training and capability building, and consumer empowerment. These are the 5 parameters what the FSSAI is elevating. Okay, so nearly 3/4 of all states and union territories scored less than 50 out of the possible 100 in 2023 to 2024 index. Okay, next, the next parameter is the inverse correlation, which is higher deaths is equal to the lower safety scores. Okay, so states reporting high number of food poisoning cases often correlate with the low or moderate scores on the food safety index. Okay, in that the first one is Jharkhand, where over 130 deaths from food poisoning in 2024, which index score is 26.5. And in Uttar Pradesh, over 200 casualties in 2024, which leads to the index score of that state is 44.25. Okay, yes. The next parameter is the global standing on foodborne illness. Global standing on foodborne illness. Like, see, according to WHO, the World Health Organization, in 2026, it stated that estimates that the unsafe food causes 866 million illness. 866 million illness and 1.5 million deaths globally every year. This is said by WHO, World Health Organization. Okay, yes. Coming to the last one is disability adjusted life years, which is daily of in 2021 57.12 million days 12 million days were lost globally to foodborne illness. Okay, so approximately 30% of the heavy health burden was borne by children under 5 years. Under 5 years of children is facing these problems. Okay, so in global country-wise analysis of daily rates to be lost to foodborne diseases, India ranks the 15th highest alongside the several low-income African nations. Okay, yes. Moving forward, and yes, moving to the structural and legislative bottlenecks, which we can see is first is the inadequate market sampling. Inadequate market sampling, like the gap between the registered food business operations and the actual food samples analyzed is massive. Okay, for example, the Maharashtra, where a 1.8 plus lakhs of registered or active FBOs licenses have been there, and 20,877 food samples lifted for analysis in 2024 to 2025 index. Okay, so low sample collection, which weakens the surveillance and increases the risk of contaminated food reaching consumers. Okay, yes. The next is the severe personal deficits. This is the another bottleneck where the vaccines have risen from roughly 30 percentage to almost 40 percentage over the last 5 years. Okay, so nationwide, as of the financial year 2025 to 2026, see, the filed positions are 2,997. However, 4,208 are sanctioned positioners for the food safety officers across the states and union territories. So FSSAI, the central sanctioned strength is 822 posts. Okay, so the persisted vacancies which are been there, they created an enforcement vacuum which is undermining the effective implementation of food safety laws. Okay, yes. Coming to the recent policy interventions which have been happened is the risk-based inspection. Like, see, you can say a recent legislative amendment to the FSS Act 2006 has shifted the regulatory framework towards the dynamic risk-based assessments. Okay, so instead of the uniform static scheduling, the frequency of mandatory state inspections and the food sample collection will now be determined by the type of the food business which has been established, and based on the past compliance of compliance records and the hazardous factors they have and the overall risk profile. Okay, on these parameters only the food collections or the sample collections and the inspected time will be depending. So this shift aims to improve the regulatory efficiency, which ensures the better allocation of the resources and reduce the food safety risks at source. Okay, yes. When moving forward, how could we write this conclusion about this article is, we can say, while the overall foodborne diseases which is burden in India has declined since 2000, which is securing the outbreaks and high mortality reveal deep structural and enforcement gaps. Okay, the state government must urgently fill the vacant food safety fire safety, the food safety officer positions, and to strengthen the laboratory and sample collection infrastructure and ensure the adequate market surveillance. This is what the state government has to do in a immediate urgent manner. Okay, so the transition from a reactive contaminant to the newly amended dynamic risk based inspection system, it is crucial to prevent the avoidable tragedies, the to protect the public health and evaluate the India's global food safety standards. Okay, yes, and there are few key terminologies which you can remember for your UPSC exam. Is the first one is State Food Safety Index, which is, it is an annual evaluation metric developed by the FSSAI to benchmark the performance of the state or union territory on parameters such as the human resource, the compliance, the testing infrastructure, the training or capacity building, and the consumer empowerment. Okay, this is what you call the State Food Index. Next is Disability Adjusted Life Years, DALYS, TALS, which is a standard public health metric which that combine year of life lost due to premature mortality and the years lived with disability. Okay, which is reflecting the total burden of disease in population. Okay, next is the last one is Dynamic Risk Based Assessment. Okay, what is this dynamic risk based assessment is, it is a regulatory inspection strategy where the frequency and the intensity of oversight are determined by the establishment specific risk profile, past compliance history, the hazard factors, and type of food operations rather than the five interval inspections. I mean the it's not five, it is fixed interval inspections. Okay, yes. And yes, this is about the second article which we have seen. Okay. So yes, basically when we have seen these two articles, when these two articles ultimately emphasizes that the technology and the governance must always remain the human centric. So while artificial intelligence has the immense potential to transform the economics and the improve the decision making, it must be guided by a human wisdom, the ethical principles, and the robust regulations rather than leaving it like that. Okay. Likewise, the same way, the food safety demonstrates that even the best laws are ineffective without the strong institutions, accountability, and the proper implementation. Okay. So, the common message from these two articles which we can take it is, the innovation alone cannot guarantee the public welfare, whether it is regulating AI or ensuring food safety. Governments must strengthen the institutions, have to enforce the standards effectively, and build the public trust, and place this human well-being at the center of the policy making. Okay, this is what we can discuss about this articles of. Okay, yes, I hope you like this video. If you want a detailed note of it and you want this PDF which is available in the website, do download it from our website. The links are provided in the description below. And do like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily editorial analysis, which is very much important for your mains answer writing. Okay, and do follow our Instagram channel as well as our Telegram channel for your UPSC preparation. And I'll see you all tomorrow with another editorial analysis. Thank you.